In today's world, it's easier than ever to seek and crave approval. Every post, every achievement, every decision seems to beg for validation. Social media, social circles, and even our workplaces feed the idea that our worth depends on how others see us. But the Stoics taught a radically different truth. Peace and strength come not from approval, but from self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, don't waste time on what you can control. Focus on what you can. And what we can control is our character, our choices, and the integrity of our actions, not the opinions of others. In this video, we'll explore how Stoicism helps us release the need for external validation and find freedom in authenticity. You learn how to live not for applause, but for alignment, to act according to your values, not the expectations of others. Because once you stop seeking approval, you start discovering who you truly are. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't waste time on what you can't control. Focus on what you can." Few lines capture the Stoic spirit as perfectly as this one. In it lies the key to emotional freedom, the understanding that peace comes not from pleasing others, but from mastering yourself. The approval of others, the opinions they form, and the judgments they make, all of these exist outside your control. Yet, many of us spend our lives chasing them. The Stoics saw this as one of the greatest traps of human behavior, tying our happiness to what is not ours to command. To live wisely, Marcus teaches, is to bring your focus inward, to measure success not by recognition, but by virtue, not by applause, but by integrity. When you stop depending on external validation, you begin to live with real strength, the kind that cannot be taken away. Marcus Aurelius' advice: don't waste time on what you can't control. Focus on what you can. May seem simple, yet it confronts one of the deepest human insecurities, our desire to be liked, accepted, and approved of. From childhood, we are conditioned to seek validation. We learn to measure our worth by the praise of others, their approval becoming a mirror through which we see ourselves. But the Stoics saw this dependency as a form of enslavement, a chain that binds the mind and weakens the spirit. To depend on the approval of others is to give them power over your peace. And in a world dominated by social validation, this is more relevant than ever. The trap of external validation, every like, comment, or compliment triggers a momentary pleasure, but it fades quickly, leaving behind a craving for more. This cycle mirrors what the Stoics warned against: basing happiness on external things that lie beyond our control. Marcus Aurelius, even as Emperor of Rome, one of the most powerful men in history, constantly reminded himself that the opinions of others are fleeting and insignificant. He wrote, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others." The Stoic path invites us to reverse that, to care less about how we appear, and more about who we truly are. What Stoicism teaches about approval: the Stoics believed that the only true measure of worth is virtue, living in harmony with reason, integrity, and nature. Approval, in their eyes, was irrelevant. They understood that people's opinions are shaped by their own perspectives, emotions, and ignorance. To seek constant validation is to live at the mercy of those fleeting judgments. Instead, the Stoics urge us to focus on what we can control: our intentions, acting with honesty and purpose; our reactions, responding with calm, not emotion; our values, staying true to what is right, not what is popular. When we build our identity around these internal anchors, we no longer need applause. We find confidence in integrity and peace in self-respect. practices to free yourself from the need for approval. Daily detachment. Each morning, remind yourself, today, I will meet people who may criticize or misunderstand me, and that's okay. This reflection, inspired by Marcus Aurelius, prepares your mind to act with virtue without being disturbed by judgment, defying your own standards. Ask yourself, what does success mean to me, truly? When you set your standards based on Stoic principles rather than external validation, you reclaim your autonomy. Reflect instead of react when faced with criticism or praise. Pause, ask, is this within my control? If not, let it go. Both criticism and approval are temporary. Neither defines your worth. Focus on character, not reputation. Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. The Stoic focuses on doing what's right, even if misunderstood, for the truth needs no words. Evening reflection. Before sleep, review your day. Did I act according to my values? Or did I act for approval? This honest reflection cultivates integrity and courage over time, freedom through authenticity. When you stop living for the approval of others, something remarkable happens. You become free. You act, speak, and choose with authenticity. You no longer compromise your values to fit expectations. You no longer fear judgment, because your peace no longer depends on it. The Stoics remind us that the opinions of others are like the wind. They shift constantly, but cannot change the solidity of a grounded soul. True confidence is quiet, rooted in the knowledge that you live with virtue, not vanity. So, as Marcus said, don't waste time on what you can't control, especially the minds of others. Focus on what you can, your effort, your integrity, your peace. In that focus lies real power, the kind that no applause can give and no criticism can take away. We live in a time when approval has become currency. Every post, decision, or achievement is often followed by the silent question, will others approve of this? Our sense of worth has become tied to numbers, likes, followers, recognition, things that fluctuate constantly and lie entirely outside our control. But Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, left us a powerful reminder. Don't waste time on what you can't control. Focus on what you can. This single line contains the antidote to one of modern life's greatest traps, the endless search for validation. The Stoics understood that depending on the approval of others weakens the soul. It leads to anxiety, insecurity, and constant self-doubt. For how can you live freely if your peace depends on the shifting opinions of strangers? The weight of approval. When we live for validation, we hand over control of our happiness. Each compliment lifts us, and each criticism crushes us. The Stoics called this the tyranny of externals, being ruled by things outside our power. Marcus Aurelius, despite ruling Rome, constantly reminded himself of the futility of seeking praise. He wrote in Meditations, soon you will have forgotten all things, and soon all things will have forgotten you. This isn't pessimism, it's liberation. When you realize how fleeting other people's opinions truly are, you begin to see how pointless it is to base your worth on them. The Stoic view of self-worth. Stoicism teaches that true value comes not from fame or applause, but from virtue, living in accordance with reason, justice, and integrity. Your worth lies not in what others think of you, but in how faithfully you live your principles. Epictetus put it plainly, if you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. To the Stoic, being misunderstood or unappreciated means nothing compared to the satisfaction of living truthfully. When you stop performing for approval, you start living with authenticity. You begin to act not for attention, but for alignment, doing what is right because it is right. How to let go of the need for Validation recognizes the illusion. Praise and criticism are two sides of the same coin, both outside your control. The moment you realize this, their power over you begins to fade. Define your own standards. The Stoic doesn't measure success by popularity, but by integrity. Ask yourself each day, did I act according to my values? That question matters more than anyone's opinion. Detach from applause. When you do something good or achieve something meaningful, resist the urge to seek recognition. Instead, remind yourself, the act was its own reward. Virtue needs no audience. Accept criticism calmly. Not all criticism is harmful. Some may hold truth. The Stoic listens with reason, filters emotion, and uses what is useful. The rest, they let go. Practice daily reflection. Each night, reflect. Did I act to impress others or to express my true self? Awareness of your motives builds inner freedom. Living authentically. Through Stoicism, to live authentically is to live with self-trust, to know that your peace, purpose, and worth are internal. Stoicism doesn't tell you to ignore others completely, but to prioritize your own moral compass over external noise. When you live for validation, you chase shadows, but when you live for virtue, you build something solid. A calm mind, a strong character, an unshakable peace. The truth is, people will always have opinions. They will praise you one day and criticize you the next. But neither defines you. What defines you is your ability to stay grounded, to live with calm conviction amid both applause and disapproval. Marcus Aurelius faced endless scrutiny as emperor. Yet he wrote, "Be satisfied with your own approval. And it does not matter if others do not approve." That is Stoic freedom, the courage to walk your path without the need for validation. Final reflection. The more you live by your own principles, the less you depend on approval, the less you chase validation, the more authentic you become. And in that authenticity lies peace. Not the fragile peace of pleasing others, but the enduring peace of knowing you've lived true to yourself. So, when you feel the pull of others' opinions, remember the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. Don't waste time on what you can't control. Focus on what you can. Let others think what they will. Your worth was never theirs to decide. In a world that constantly pushes us to seek attention, praise, and validation, Stoicism offers a liberating truth. That peace is found not in being approved, but in being authentic. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't waste time on what you can't control. Focus on what you can. The opinions of others, their reactions, their judgments, all of these lie outside your control. But your character, your choices, and your integrity, these are yours alone." When you stop chasing approval, you start reclaiming your freedom. You begin to live from strength, not from need. You act out of conviction, not out of fear. You speak your truth quietly, without the need to be understood or applauded. That is where true confidence lives, not in being accepted, but in being aligned with your values. The Stoics remind us that the person who depends on others for validation is never free, but the one who finds peace within, who measures success by their own virtue, that person is untouchable. So, as you move forward, remember, you do not need the world's permission to be yourself. Let others think as they will. Their opinions come and go like the wind. What matters is that you remain grounded, steady, and true. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone who may be struggling to find their voice in a world of noise. Together, let's live as the Stoics taught, with inner strength, calm authenticity, and freedom from the need for approval.